Okay, so welcome back. So in the second part of the lecture, we are going to cover the merits of C programming language. So we are, as I said in the first part, we are going to use C programming language, and this programming language is a well-known, famous programming language. And we will see in the second part of the lecture why we choose this programming language. And we will give you a little introduction about this programming language. So let's start. So why C? Actually, C language is very efficient and has maximum speed comparing to access memory and access the computer computation power faster than other programming languages. And it can be considered one of the most efficient programming languages, high-level programming languages in all programming languages we know. And why? Because this programming language is efficient and well optimized to access the hardware of the computer efficiently. Also, C programming language is portable, somehow portable. That means if you write a C programming software, if you write some software and this software written in C language, in this case, that software you can run this software after compiling. You can compile this software in multiple operating systems, and it will run with just little modifications or maybe no modification at all. It depends on the how complicated is this software. So that means this software can be run on multiple places, multiple systems without any large modification for the code of the software. Something we call it portability. That means you can move the software from one operating system to another operating system without any problem. Only you need is just compiling the software you wrote in C language on the operating system you are going to use. The another powerful thing about C language, it's a flexible programming language. So it can, it's very powerful and it's a flexible and many operating systems, like for example Windows, Unix, and Linux, all those operating systems, many parts of those operating systems are written in C programming language. Why? For example, Windows. When you are using Windows or you are using Mac operating system, or you are using Ubuntu, for example, in Linux, those operating systems are what? Those operating systems are software. And many of the part of those software or those operating systems are written using C programming language, because this language is powerful and flexible and efficient, run fast. So if you write the operating system or you write part of the Windows operating system using C language, that means this operating system will be fast, okay, and efficient. Also, there are many new programming languages. Maybe some of you heard about in other programming languages, like for example Fortran, Python, Java. So those programming languages, they have compiler, some software which generate the software, okay? So software that generate the software. I will talk about the compiler in details later in this lecture, but those compiler which can make the software, those compilers are written in C programming language. So that means the C programming language is a very famous programming language to write efficient software and fast software and flexible software. Okay, and also C try to fulfill the programmer needs, such as accessing the hardware, accessing the memory. Actually, C programming language is very efficient to access the computer memory and to access the computation power of the computer. So that means it will be very satisfying for the programmer to use this language to access any hardware. And this one could be the reason that C programming language is not only used to create software for computer. They are using the C programming language to create softwares for other devices, other computing devices. And this is what we are going to see in the upcoming slides. Okay? So to sum up, C programming language is a simple, very simple, and it's sometimes there are many universities all over the world choose this language to teach the students programming languages. Why? Because this language is a simple language, easy to learn, and it's very efficient and powerful. Also, this language is portable. This language supports some data structure or how to store data efficiently in the memory or in the computer or any storage. Also, the C language has many codes available. You can use this code for free. We call this code a library. Okay, so there are many libraries written or code written in C language that any programmer can use, because this code was written by other programmers, and those programmers say you can use this code for free. Okay, and also this language support many other features, like something we will learn later, like recursion, extensible. That means the software can be very huge and without any problem. And also the language is fast in the execution. That means if you write some software in C language, that software sure will be faster than any other software do the same job in other programming language. Okay, so it's fast. And also you can control the memory of your computer. You can control the storage in your computer using this programming language in a very efficient way. So those are why we choose the C programming language to teach in this course. As I told you before, C programming language is not only for computers, not to create software for computer. We use nowadays C programming language for embedded system. That means devices, like devices inside car, devices inside door lock, devices inside a refrigerator, devices inside any other equipments or devices. So we can program those devices using C programming language. Also, C programming language is a very famous language for games. Why? Because games need a lot of computations and they need a lot of memory accessing. So if you want to build efficient and fast game, there are many programmers of those games use C programming language. They try to mix C programming language with other programming languages, but mainly they want to do the slow part of the game. They implement using C programming language because this language is fast language. Also, for robotics inside factories, those robotics, many of them need efficient programming language or software or fast software. So we choose C programming language to program those robotics. Also, we use the C language for computer applications, and we use this C language for define something, we call it computer languages. We can build a new computer language using the C programming language. So we can implement a new programming language or define a new programming language using C language. Okay? So this is so there are many, so C language is one of the most famous programming languages all over the world, okay? So if you check on the internet, you go to, if we go to Chrome, okay, and I will just show you the top programming languages, for example. So you will see top programming languages, and you will see C language is one of them. So if you see here, let's go to here, for example, IEEE is one of the rating systems for the programming language. If you see, C is rank 3, the most famous programming language. Okay, also Java is little bit complicated comparing to C programming language, so it's better to start by simple programming language and most famous programming language, and then you can go to little bit complicated programming language. So C is really powerful programming language. We can use this programming language for mobile programming, for embedded system devices programming, for robotics programming, for game programming, for desktop software programming, for operating system programming, like building part of Windows is written in C programming language. Okay, so let's have little overview about this C programming. Who invented this language? So the language was invented in 1978. It's a little bit old programming language. And this language was invented by two computer scientists, Brain and Dennis. Those are the photos of Brain and Dennis. Those are the inventors of C programming language. And actually, the first standard C programming language, standard mean it became a language that can be used globally all over the world and also be used to build many softwares. This programming language became standard in 1989. So this one was the first standard. So in 1989 was the first version of the official C programming language, and we call that a version of C language. We call it C89. So that was the first copy of the language. Then after that, they just modify a little bit and they generate a new copy of the C programming language in 1990, and we call this one C90. And this one also became standard, and they started using this language. Nowadays, in the 2018, they create, actually after the C19, there were many new copy of the language. What is the new copy of the language? Mean you will add extra features for the language, extra powerful things for the language, extra definition, extra rules. And those rules, as you add extra rules in the programming language, they create a new copy or a new version of the language. Okay, so same like when you have your mobile, and in your mobile you have Android 7, and then later your mobile will ask you, okay, there is a new copy of your operating system, make update. So you update and you got a new copy of the Android operating system, Android 8 or Android 9 and so on. So similar thing for the programming language. They update the language and then add extra features, extra rules, and this one will be a new copy of the language. So until now, in 2018 was the last recent copy of the language, and it was C18. They call it C18. That means 2018. So the C18 include the recent copies of the language. And also for us, for example, we are trying to the most famous or the most popular copy of the language is the C99. That means this one 1999 standard. Okay, and this one actually was mainly contain many new features like internationalization. That means you can write software and those software can support multiple languages, not only English. It support Korean, it support Chinese, it support other languages. Also, it will correct many problems of the old copies or old versions of the C programming language. And also it included improvement of the computations and efficient access of the memory of the computer. So there are features. So usually we are using C99, but it doesn't, this one it's not the only way to use the C language. So there are many also install or use the standard of C 2018, for example. This is not a big deal, but as you are using the newest version of the C compiler or the C language, in this case you will enjoy more rules, more flexibility, and more advanced things in the language. Okay, now what is the programming language? When I say, okay, C programming language, what is exactly the C programming? What is the programming language itself? Actually, the programming languages is same like any language, same like a human language, same like when I'm speaking English or I'm speaking Korean or I'm speaking, this language is a language to speak to the computer. So you are talking to the computer. So when you are talking to the computer, you are using grammar, or you are same like when I'm speaking in English. If I don't speak English, if I don't know some vocabularies in English, and if I don't follow the grammar of English, you cannot understand me. But if same thing in the programming language. In the programming language, we are going to use some vocabularies or some keywords. We call them keywords, and those keywords we will use them in a systematic way. That means we will follow some grammar. And when we follow some grammar, we will write some sentences. Sentences in any programming language. Like, for example, I will do something like, for example, when I say, for example, in a sentence, maybe later I will explain this one, but for now, just to give you just some feeling. For example, if I say int like this, int, and then I say var, okay, equal, for example, or v is equal 3. What does this one mean? I follow like this. So this one, I follow some grammar in the C language. And in this grammar, I say I use this keyword, int. This one mean define for me some storage. And this storage will be integer storage. Okay? And this storage has name. The storage is, name is v. And this storage contain value 3. Okay, so I am saying to the computer using C language, this is a C language sentence. Okay, in this C language sentence, I am telling the computer, make for me some storage in the computer, and this storage in the memory of the computer, this storage contain some value 3. So it will be in the computer memory. In the computer memory, there will be storage, and this storage is an integer storage. Int mean integer. Integer storage, that means only numbers will be inside this storage, and this storage has a name. The name of this storage is v. Okay, so this is like this. I am following some grammar, some rules. I'm following how to define some integer storage. I will use this word or this vocabulary or this keyword, and this keyword say define integer. Okay, so I will not go in programming language in details now, because later I will teach you step by step how to define storage, how to make some simple software. All of these things we will talk in details later. But I want to tell you that programming language is same like any other language. It's a language where we have some vocabularies, and those vocabularies follow some grammar. I use these vocabularies with some grammar to create some sentences. Okay, I will create some sentences or some task or some job. Okay, so that means in any programming language has grammar. It has a grammar. You follow grammar, same like English. English has a grammar. So it have something we call it syntax. Okay, grammar. And any programming language has semantic, meaning of the sentence. For example, this sentence here mean I want to create some storage, and this storage to save the value 3. Okay, And also, any programming language has sentences or statements. So this one is one sentence. I can define multiple sentences. So the sentences or statements are instruction that ask the computer to do something. Okay, it will ask the computer to do something. Like what? I will ask the computer, please put in the memory of the computer some integer storage, and this integer storage contain the value 3. And this storage has a name V. Okay? So each programming language has a grammar. Each programming language has meaning for this grammar. Each programming language contains many sentences, okay, or statements. And also each programming language has variables or storage in the memory, okay? So variables that like this one, this V here is a variable. So it's a storage in the memory. So we will talk, this one will be more clear when we start learning some examples from C programming language. Okay, now C programming language is a high-level language. High-level programming language. High-level programming language. So the high-level programming languages are programming languages which are similar to English programming language. So to English language. That means we are using some language or some. We write the statements in something similar to English. For example, when I say int, mean integer, or I say, for example, for example, variable, I say like this, for variable, for example, variable equals 0 to for example, variable less than, if I say variable less than 10, okay, variable, for example, plus 2, for example, like this. So I'm writing here like English. I say repeat for any variable between 0 and 10, run this loop, and in this loop, increase the variable every time, increase the variable 2 step or 2 values. Okay, so anyway, I don't want you to ask you what is the meaning of this one now, but I just want to tell you high level language, they are using words, and those words are English words, something similar to English words. Okay, low level language, they are using something more to the computer, similar to the machine code, like for example something like this, add x3, move 72, GMP. So it will be something unreadable as English. So this one will be something is like commands you give to the computer, give to the machine, okay, or something. So the low level languages are not easy to read, and they don't looks like English programming language. Okay, it's not like English, like English language, not English programming language, but English language. So, but high-level programming languages are very similar to the human language or similar to the English language. This one, so C programming language is a high-level programming language. It's a high-level programming language. Also, C++, Java. So low-level programming languages are not common nowadays. No one wants to program using low-level programming language. Why? Because it's very hard to program using low-level programming language. What kind of example for low-level programming language? Example is assembly programming language. Okay, so assembly programming language is a low-level language, and this assembly programming language is very hard to learn and very hard to read and very hard to write. So no one prefers to use low-level programming language. All of us, all the programmers and all of the computer scientists, all the people who are interested in writing software, they like to program using high-level programming language, because this high-level programming language is easy to read, easy to write, easy to build some software using this language. And also this high-level programming language, it does not go in details about how this programming language is working. So it's abstract language, mean it will just tell you, give you some command, and those command will do a lot of things without knowing details about how the software is working to achieve this task. Okay, so the high-level languages also have many grammar, complicated sounding. That means they have a grammar, and they have a grammar, and this grammar is not simple grammar. It's a complicated grammar because it's similar like English language. So the English language has many, but it's not exactly like English. English is hard comparing to programming languages, but I want to say here those high-level programming languages, they have a lot of rules, a lot of grammars. Okay, so but those programming languages are rich, and they can accomplish any job you want to give to the computer. So those high-level programming language, you can build software, and that software can do anything you want. Okay, so this is what I want to say about high-level programming languages. Okay, so so far in this part of the lecture, we already talked about what is the why we choose C programming language for this course, and what is the importance of C programming language, how important is C programming language, and also we talk about where do we use C programming language. Also we explain what's the meaning of programming language, and then we talk about the history of C programming language and where the different copy or updates of the C programming language. And in the next part of the lecture, we are going to talk about the steps to create a software in C programming language. So I will stop here for this part of the lecture, and then I will continue in the next video.